Good morning. Welcome to worship with the community of First Unitarian Church of Omaha. My name is Reverend Shari Woodbury, and I'm the settled minister here. Whether you are joining us at home or here in the sanctuary, I'm glad you have chosen to tune in or come out on this cloudy November morning. We come together to worship, which from the Latin means to remember that which is of worth. Each week, we ground ourselves in our highest values as we reconnect with this community. A special welcome to visitors. This congregation is a community of all ages and abilities. It is a community with a rainbow of gender and sexual identities. It is a community of diverse cultural and class backgrounds. Whoever you may be, we welcome you to bring your whole self into this place. We draw from many different sources of inspiration and share common liberal religious values. If you're joining us online, I encourage you to create a YouTube account and sign in when you participate that way so you can use the chat feature, which we'll be doing today. I also encourage everyone who is interested in YouTube to share videos that you like with others, which is a great way to introduce people to our caring community. For those here in person, you are invited to go downstairs to the common room after the service for coffee and conversation. That's the room right underneath the sanctuary here. We're actually going to have a special celebration today for the renewal of our status as an LGBTQIA welcoming congregation, which we just got word of a few weeks ago from our national denominational headquarters. I'd like to mention a couple of events coming up this week. Tomorrow, Monday, here in our sanctuary at 6 p.m., a Transgender Day of Remembrance service will be held. This is an interfaith event led by local trans faith leaders, including my counterpart from Second Unitarian, Reverend Juniper Meadows. With song, reflection, and candlelight, we will uplift the names of those transgender kindred lost to violence over the past year. Then on Tuesday, the Tri-Faith Center is hosting a silent vigil for peace in the Holy Land. That'll be at 5 p.m. Tuesday on the Tri-Faith campus. RSVPs are requested, and the link was included in Friday's e-news, or you can go to trifaith.org and find the event information and the RSVP button there. I'll be participating in both of these events, and we'll be glad to share a prayerful space with all of those who choose to attend. To learn about other activities you might want to take part in around First Unitarian, please use the QR code or the links in the program. You can also grab a printed e-news in the foyer by the TV out there if you want to on your way out. Lastly, I want to acknowledge that our church occupies the traditional treaty lands of the Omaha and Otoe-Missouri tribal nations whose sovereignty existed long before the state of Nebraska. We also express our respect to the Ponca, Winnebago, and Santee Sioux tribes, all of Nebraska, and the many other tribes represented in the Omaha area. Our aspiration here is to go beyond land acknowledgments by educating ourselves and supporting causes, charities, and rights of Indigenous people, and we invite you to join us in that. And now I'm pleased to welcome Jennifer Forbes Bailey, who comes here from the Omaha International Folk Dancers and shares several gifts of dance with us. And I think she'd like to tell us a little bit about her first selection.
Good morning. Enormous gratitude to Shari and to Mark Loskatoff for the invitation to come today and be in this beautiful sanctuary and share some morning time with you. I'm Jennifer Forbes Bailey, president of the Omaha International Folk Dancers, and I need to add BFF of Yvonne Loskatoff Price, and many, many fabulous Unitarian saints in this church. The two dances I've chosen today, the first is a children's dance, primarily from the Ukraine. We do this almost every Summer Arts Festival, and we generally open for the Earth Day with this. My second dance is from Israel, and my costume is from Palestine. Those three choices were intentional. Those people are torn by grief and terror, and they need a harvest of love and peace. So that's my theme to you for Harvest. The first dance, Baba, translates as grandma. Grandma is planting flax seeds. She goes down the row planting, and she turns around, and all of her flax seeds have been picked up by the birds. So you will hear that in the steps. Now, my second dance, Ud You Have to Die, I thought for years and years, more than a decade, that meant you have not loved enough. The translation is, I have not loved enough. I love the translation. May we all love a little more and harvest the benefit. The first dance, I need your help on. It's a children's dance, so I know you all can do it. I'm going to hand the microphone off, and we're going to clap the rhythm. Exactly in the music. So your steps are slow, slow, and quick, slow, slow, and quick, slow, slow, and quick, slow, 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 quick. That is the whole dance. The quick is tapping the soil, getting that flaxseed in the soil. So I know Mark will dance with me, and I'm sure Marie and Dan, I'll pick on you, will dance with me. We'll start at the back. Proceed around and back down. The dance lasts 2 minutes and 4 seconds. You look like a dancer to me. Okay, if you will.
All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. She's also going to light the chalice for us this morning. Thank you all for playing along, and I invite you to participate again with the chalice lighting words. Ready? Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. Thank you. And I should mention for visitors, you never know what you're going to get when you come here on Sunday. So come back a few more times if you haven't already. To love life is to notice the wonders that abound. And to notice the wonders that abound is to be grounded here and now. And to be grounded here and now is the beginning of finding love for this life today. Let us ground ourselves in this instant in the worship of all things good and right. Our children are going to join us. If there are some in the sanctuary, you're welcome to come forward too. And Christina has a story to share about a family that loves green growing things.
Okay. Is this close enough? Or I can hold it too, but I don't know how to move this stand. Yeah, it's good. Is it secured? Okay. All right, good morning. I'm Christina Strong, Director of Religious Education here at First Unitarian. Our story today is The More You Give by Marcy Campbell and Francesca Sana. Once there was a wide open field and a boy who loved his grandmother who loved him back. And they were happy. The grandmother gave the boy many gifts, like big hugs and bigger laughter and the very biggest Sunday morning pancakes. But she had more to give, small gifts like acorns, tiny and shiny, with wild and woolly caps. Most of the gifts she gave to the boy were ones that he could not hold in his hands, like all of her wisdom about how things grow. The boy watched and wondered, and one day, a little tree sprouted. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a little tree sprouting right there. When will it be bigger than me, he asked, as he dreamed of swings and secret spaces. In reply, his grandmother gave him another gift, patience. The boy had a birthday, and the tree reached his knees. The boy had another birthday, and the tree reached his shoulders. The boy's grandmother had a birthday, and he gave her many gifts, like a poem, a picture, a crown, and most of all, his love. And she loved him back, and they were happy. Until one day, his grandmother died, and he was very sad. Slowly, slowly, happiness spread its roots again. The boy's grandmother had taught him to ask for help when he needed it, and so remembering, he did. He watered and weeded a while. He watched and wondered. He grew tall with wondering, still dreaming of swings and secret spaces, but not for himself. Once, there was a not-so-wide-open field and a girl who loved her father who loved her back. And they were happy. The father gave the girl many gifts, like piggyback rides and plump strawberries and bedtime stories about his grandmother. He also gave the girl acorns, tiny, shiny things with wild and woolly caps. But he had more to give, like all of his wisdom about how things grow. "When will it be bigger than me?" the girl asked. And he explained how love, even when given to the smallest of things, can spread up and out and grow bigger than she could ever imagine. Together, they watered and weeded, and in time they found shade, a home, and strong, thick branches that were perfect for a swing. They watched and waited and wondered. The girl grew and the trees grew and their love grew and spread up and out while the girl dreamed of secret spaces, but not for herself. Once there was a field dotted with trees and a boy who loved his mother who loved him back, and they were happy. The boy's mother gave him pancakes made from her great-grandmother's recipe, topped with strawberries from her father's patch, and hugs and laughter and piggyback rides and bedtime stories about their family and its love of green growing things. The boy's mother gave him acorns, and together they planted and watered and weeded and watched and wondered. From their secret space, which wasn't very secret, the boy and his mother shared their wisdom with anyone and everyone about how things grow, like trees and people and kindness. Just a minute, let's finish our story. The boy always had more love to give, and he got love in return. Was it bigger than him? It was. It was much bigger than he had ever imagined, and that is why he was happy. Once there was a forest. And that's the end of our story. I'd like to invite preschool and below to join us downstairs in the preschool room. Kindergarten through 5th grade can join us in the upstairs classroom. Kindergarten can either go preschool or elementary class if they'd like. And any middle and high schoolers are invited to join me downstairs in the teen classroom. Yes? Saw a pattern?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about the pattern you saw. Okay. You saw a pattern in the book?
I saw a pattern in the book where there was a boy with a grandma that he loved the grandma, and the story talked about other people with a boy and a grandma, and with a child and an adult, and that's the pattern I saw.
Did anyone notice a pattern about the trees?
All right. Each week we share our blessings with others through a community offering. Half of undesignated gifts are donated to a local cause which resonates with Unitarian Universalist values. If you're online or would prefer to give with your smartphone, you can use the QR code or link. For the month of November, our Share the Plate recipient is the Alternatives to Violence Project. AVP offers guidance, support, and workshops based on the belief that there is a power that is able to transform violent and destructive situations and behaviors into liberating and constructive experience and cooperative behavior. Using the AVP curriculum, participants practice ways for changing opponents into friends and bringing justice out of injustice. And this group will actually be presenting a worship service right here next Sunday, so that'll be a wonderful way to learn more about them. Meanwhile, I invite you to give in support of their work as you are able while we enjoy another international folk dance.
Or will have to die, what does it mean? What does the title mean, Ode, You Have to Die? I have not loved enough. So put some love as you can, especially on Thursday at Thanksgiving and always.
Thank you, Jennifer. Come to the time for sharing of joys and concerns in our community. When we share our joys with others, our joys are multiplied. And when we let others know what challenges we are facing, they can offer their care. I heard one joy earlier, which was the joy of having Elaine Wells back as she's healing from her surgery.
Cards and calls and visits and flowers and food. It really made me feel loved and supported.
Elaine is expressing her gratitude for cards, calls, food, all of the outpouring of support as she recovered from her surgery. Colin, do we have any other joys and concerns submitted? Okay. I'll share one of my own. I had a rather exciting morning, which involved starting to get a migraine before I came here and having my husband drive me here because I didn't think the flashes and the driving went well together, and then his car breaking down on the way to the church. And my joy is that we were so surrounded by the care of this community. One member came and picked me up and brought me here, and another member came and connected my husband with a tow truck because he hadn't been able to reach anybody, and somebody else gave me something to make sure that this wouldn't get worse, and everything came together, and I am feeling surrounded personally by the love of this community, so thank you. And if you see me put my sunglasses back on, I'm not looking cool, I'm just, paranoid now. Okay, well, I'm sure there are many other joys and challenges held privately, both among those here in the sanctuary and among our members and friends and other folks watching and out in the community. I invite you into a time of contemplation. You may wish to check your posture, notice your breathing. I invite you, if it feels comfortable to you, to place one hand over your heart and extend the other hand out on your lap, palm up, in a gesture of giving, receiving, and gratitude. I'll begin this time of quiet with a common prayer from Eric Williams, adapted. Following the spoken prayer, we'll observe a time of silence for your own inward prayer or upwelling of gratitude and thanks. I'll end the time of silence with the sound of the bell. Let us bless the earth and all that is steady and firm. Let us bless the sky and all that is open and filled with light. Let us bless their union, earth and sky, holy and without ceasing. Let us bless their children, the bounty of field and forest, stones, plants, animals, and all living things. May the gifts of the earth and sky strengthen, refresh, nourish, and heal the peoples of the earth. And may we, in turn, care for this sacred land. May it be so. Amen. Now a time of silence for your own prayer or gratitude. The bounty of field and forest. Cultures the world over celebrate the time of harvest with a feast. Families and communities enjoy the abundance of nature, give thanks for the food on the feast table, and celebrate the food stowed away for the winter. At this time, I want to invite our ushers to go ahead and come forward, and they'll be distributing apples. You can take an apple out of the basket and pass it on down. Each person is invited to take just one apple, and for now, beautiful as it is, don't bite into it yet. Just hold it in your hand. We'll get to that later. If you're joining us from home and you have an apple or another piece of fruit or produce in your home, I invite you to go ahead and get it and join in our ritual of reciprocity as you are able. While harvest celebrations and sacred meals are near universal, it'd be easy to forget what prompts the merriment and simply look forward to some time off from work or school, perhaps with friends and extended family. In an urban society, less attuned to the rhythms of nature, perhaps it takes a bit more intention on our parts to recognize and honor the gifts of the earth. So often our food comes to us in cans and boxes, in restaurants and drive-through windows, or if we make it home, from bags of produce and other goods that we bought at Baker's or Hy-Vee or wherever you get your groceries. More of us are harvesting our own vegetables recently, however. I was interested to learn that one of the upsides of the pandemic was that people spent more time in nature, noticing plants and creatures around their homes and neighborhoods, going for midday walks, and even taking up gardening. A study found that 1 out of every 3 Americans started gardening in 2020. Fresh air, sunshine, that earthy smell when your hands are in the dirt, exertion, and the satisfaction of helping green things grow like the family in our children's story loved, gardens can be very therapeutic. Well, this morning we bring a bit of the garden to you, and we bring a bit of the orchard to you. And by the way, I want to say thanks to all our helpers who helped create this beautiful display here. Marisa Lachek made the cornucopia herself. Many people contributed. Yeah. And thank you to Mark Leskata for procuring these apples from a local orchard. All right, does everyone have an apple now? Hold up your apple for me. Okay, oh, that's beautiful, a whole sanctuary full of apples. I was looking at my stole earlier after I put it on and noticed something I've never noticed before, which it has these little kind of red stars, and so now I think this is an apple tree that I'm wearing. Well, these are Jonathan apples from a local orchard. I recall Mary Oliver's observation that attention is the beginning of devotion. So we're going to hone our love and gratitude to Mother Nature for providing so much by giving some attention to this apple. So I invite you to hold up your apple before you and gaze at it. You might want to turn it so you can see what the color's shading, and are there subtle dots or striations anywhere on your apple? If you notice a leaf-shaped shading, there might literally have been a leaf along that part of the apple. And you can squeeze your apple gently between your fingers and feel the firmness of the flesh. You might also press the apple lightly against your cheek and feel the texture of its peel. Now, I didn't know this, but apples, they actually wax themselves. They develop their own coat of wax to help protect the fruit and retain the moisture inside of the fruit. You can try polishing it a bit on your sleeve or your knee. Does it shine up? Yeah. We will bite into our apples a little later, so unless you're, diabetic and need some sugar, please wait. And for now, you can put your nose up to your apple and notice, can you get any whiff of aroma there? Oh, I get just a hint. We might get more after we bite into it later. Well, the Jonathan apple is an American heirloom variety. These apples are known for their sprightly, sweet, and tart flavoring. That's how one person described it, and now I'm wondering, what does a sprightly apple taste like? I don't know, we're gonna find out. And they're also known for their vibrant coloring and fine-grained, juicy flesh. Scientifically, apples belong in the Rosacea family, rosacea, same as roses, as well as pears and some stone fruits like cherries, peaches, and plums. The Jonathan is a popular apple for desserts like pies, applesauce, as well as eating out of hand. Turns out there are over 10,000 varieties of apples worldwide, 10,000, and colors almost as varied as those of fall leaves, reds, pinks, yellows, greens, even into browns and purples, and different combinations. Some apples will have kind of rosy and green together. Over 7,000 kinds of apples grow here in the United States. I suspect that many here have favorite apple varieties. I myself am quite partial to pink ladies and winesap apples. I invite you to turn to someone near you for just a moment, or put it in the chat, and share the name of one of your favorite kinds of apples if you know it. Unitarian Universalists are a people who appreciate the interdependent web of all life of which we are a part. And each of us is connected to the apple we hold. We are connected not only through coming together in this particular time and place, but through our shared life on this blue-green earth with its unique mix of stardust and elements, its interplay of oxygen and carbon dioxide from all the plants and animals. And let's not forget the water cycles of this place on the plains where these apples grew, or its weather patterns and growing seasons, its particular types of soil, its pests and pollinators. To hold this apple connects you with a great web of life. One might go so far as to say that this apple represents not only the abundance of the earth, but the love of the earth. When hope is hard to find, when I'm not sure what is real, when I know hunger of body or spirit, I can look to the abundance of nature, for nature provides. What is real? What is real? The love we share with one another, the love given to us by the fertile land that sustains us, and the love we offer back to the web of life, hearts overflowing with thanksgiving. The poet David White writes, "Gratitude is the understanding that many millions of things come together and live together and mesh together and breathe together in order for us to take even one more breath of air. The understanding that the underlying gift of life and incarnation as a living, participating human being is a privilege, that we are miraculously part of something rather than nothing." White continues, "Even if that something is temporarily pain or despair, we inhabit a living world with real faces, real voices, laughter, and the color blue, the green of the fields, the freshness of a cold wind, or the tawny hue of a winter landscape." Or I add, the sweet tart flavor of apples. I invite you to take your apple back into your hand or whatever piece of produce you might have at home. You've been very patient. With loving attention to all your senses, I invite you, as you bite into your apple, to notice the sensation of your teeth breaking the skin. Listen for the crunch. Those are good. Notice the texture of the apple's flesh. Flavors swirling in your mouth. The feel of the juices. You might inhale the scent again. Let's see if we can smell more this time. Let's just enjoy these sensations with full attention for a bit. This is our apple communion right here, full attention. If you're home, you might write in the chat what you are eating, what you're noticing about it. You all can continue eating while I complete this homily. When you get down to the core, just hang on to it now. For now, we won't be done with that quite yet. Apples were domesticated between 4,000 and 10,000 years ago. I think domesticated is kind of a funny word for this, though. It seems to me a bit like the relationship between humans and cats or dogs. Who chose who? Who is saving who? It's a symbiotic relationship. With apples, they attract us and other creatures, so we will sow their seeds and create new generations of apples. This fruit, first found in Kazakhstan in Asia, has spread across Europe, Africa, North and South America. And of course, here in North America, we have the tale of a particular apple spreader. What's his name? All right. Johnny Appleseed, who cleared and planted apple orchards as he traveled westward across the continent. I understand that indigenous people also took notice of the new fruit brought by European settlers, and they carried seeds west too, planting apple trees in places that they would return to. Of course, such influences go both ways. Pumpkins are one of our foods indigenous to the Americas that feature large in our fall cuisine and decor. But back to apples. So good. Charles Flagg writes, that's good. The apple is the most valuable of all the fruits in the world, and also grows farther north than any other fruit known to us. It even grows in Siberia. People have grown apple trees for their fruit since before the dawn of recorded history. Flagg continues, apples are often mentioned in the earliest legends and poems, even sacred writings. The apple has the reputation of being the fruit eaten by Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, although it is not mentioned by name in the biblical text. The Greeks had a legend that a golden apple caused quarreling among the gods and brought about the destruction of Troy. So I wonder, perhaps if we showed proper appreciation for the good gift of the apple, maybe we could avoid some of the drama that befell the protagonists in the biblical and Greek stories. Although, truth be told, we have already created some drama, which will be with us for a while. Just this past week, the plant hardiness zone map that many gardeners rely upon was updated for the first time in a decade by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I see some gardeners nodding their heads. The updated map reflects our changing climate, particularly winter temperatures, which in the Midwest are now several degrees higher than they were just a decade ago, affecting what can survive and thrive in different zones. So I'd like to turn our attention now to the human side of the equation. This is meant to be a ritual of both receiving and giving. We are not only dependent on the earth to sustain us, we are interdependent with the great web of life. We are part of it and can contribute to its health. Yes, even with climate change, especially with climate change, there's a role for each of us to play in supporting the health and resilience of other species of plants and animals. Regenerative agriculture is a new, but probably also very old approach to partnering with the earth. Have you heard about this? Regenerative agriculture? I was learning about this on an episode of America Outdoors with Baratunde Thurston, a wonderful PBS program. Or maybe it was actually Down to Earth with Zac Efron on Netflix. In any case, in regenerative agriculture, farmers raise plants and animals in combinations and with methods that increase the health of the soil and the ecosystem over time, rather than degrade the environment, as conventional agriculture in our country tends to do. One farm family interviewed was also very keen to eliminate their environmental footprint in terms of energy and fossil fuel use. Now, one way that everyday gardeners contribute to the health of the earth is, of course, by making compost and using it to literally enrich the earth, the dirt that grows food and sustains so much life on this land, green life, and four-legged life, and feathered life. So we can contribute to that foundation of the food chain, the soil. And many of you do this when volunteering in the kitchen, if you've added coffee grounds to our compost bin or scraps of produce. Even those of us who are not gardeners can give back to the earth. I'm not able to do a lot of gardening myself, but we have some bird feeders on our backyard, and that feels a little bit to me like a way of giving back to other creatures. We can use renewable energy more. We can bike and walk and bus to get where we're going when we can. We can vote with climate in mind. We can create pollinator patches in our yards. I've noticed a lot of pollinator plants here in the garden at church. We can teach young people how to care for the earth, like those elders in the story, generation after generation, teaching the young people about growing green things. And there's so many more ways to be a caring member of our interdependent earth family. Well, today we're going to take one simple action together to conclude this ritual. We're going to offer up our apple cores for the enrichment of the soil. We'll use these pumpkins here to collect your cores. So ushers, you can go ahead and come forward. Aww. Speaking of other generations, yay. We have a church member, Mark, who regularly collects the compost from the church kitchen. And he'll take these pumpkins and apple cores too and use the compost in his home garden. And if there's another gardener here that would like to take one of the pumpkins or some of the apple cores, you're welcome to do that after the service. The produce, by the way, grown from church compost, sometimes finds its way back here to be shared with members of our community who might especially appreciate some freshly grown food. In this season of Thanksgiving, let us take time to notice all the gifts of the earth with which we are blessed. Let us not take for granted the foods on our table, but rather appreciate each color, each texture, each flavorful bite. And with gratitude in our hearts, let us remember to give back to Mother Earth as well. May it be so. Amen. I invite you to rise if you like for our closing hymn, number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. For the earth forever turning, may we be grateful. For orchards, fields, and pastures, may we, good sacred citizens of interdependent earth, lovingly give back. For the world, we raise our voices with thanksgiving. Let the people say amen.